Hello everybody, welcome back. We're going to have a look at EOS, just a quick overview I suppose. So we've had a little pump recently, and that pump was generated off the back of this. EOS pumps 10% as Bullish announces planned New York Stock Exchange listing via SPAC merger. So basically, it's just another little piece of news about the Bullish exchange, which is going to be a block one venture on the EOS blockchain. So it's a buy the rumor, sell the news type vibe, I think, really. Because EOS can move when it wants to move, and we got in quite nicely at the previous accumulation phase, as the chart was telling us to buy it basically, and that worked out quite well. But the chart isn't telling us to buy it right now. It's definitely not. It's completely not like what it was before. Previously, it was a very obvious setup. Right now, it's a basic. We're catching knives with it, really. So it's a completely different vibe. If you're willing to catch a knife on something like EOS, then that's fine. But there's no actual long-term continuation of upwards trend formed. And I'm talking about the long-term time frames. If we look at the short-term time frames, like a 4-hourly, we do have this was the pump that we were speaking of, and since then we've had a higher low and technically a higher high on the 4-hourly. The 4-hourly doesn't look that bad. It actually looks kind of okay. We really do need to, just like anything, reclaim this 200 exponential on the 4-hourly to then force, hopefully, a golden cross, which would lead to strength of trend, hopefully. But we don't have that. We do actually, though, on the Bitcoin pairing, see that we've broken above the 200 exponential here. So this is a little telltale sign that EOS could actually outperform Bitcoin if we were to continue with this kind of trajectory. So closing above the 200 exponential on the 4-hourly on a Bitcoin pairing is good because this shows strength against Bitcoin. So surprisingly, EOS could end up having a rally against Bitcoin and being the stronger asset of the two. If this chart were to continue to close above the 200 exponential on the 4-hourly, that would be anyway. So again, they're not massively bullish on it, I have to say, but there are little glimmers of hope to suggest that there might be something around the corner. So if you have a look at on the weekly, so we can have a look at previous supports and resistance, because on this I'm using HyperTrader here, and I don't actually have any of my my chart planned out here. But if we have a look previously, we've got this area of support and resistance to which we are above still. So we've got resistances all the way back down here. Bang, 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 bang. They're the top of the accumulation phase, basically. This is the very top of the accumulation phase before we rallied. And then we actually used it ever so slightly, I suppose, as support, but not so much really. But being above there is a good idea. They're a good place to be, definitely. But the rest of this chart looks pretty awful, I have to say. And if we were to think about how this chart's going to play out from now, it does like to respect previous supports and resistances. So the next level of resistance I would expect if we were to have a run up is going to be more or less about $5.10, more or less. And I'm not expecting that to take place anytime soon. But if it were to happen, that's where it would reach up to. And actually, if we think about this on the daily time frame, that's just above, ever so slightly above the 200 exponential on the daily. So we're talking areas from below, I suppose, $4.74 to perhaps maybe $5.10. Next area of resistance there. But look, I mean, let's face it. If we're going to get drip fed pieces of news like we are, and some of these things, they're not just news. It's not just worthless news. It is actually quite good for EOS. Everything is going to be running on the EOS blockchain, an enormous exchange that are looking like they're going to compete directly with places like Binance. So it is a big deal, definitely. It is a big deal. I don't know if the EOS token is going to be some form of exchange token. I know very little about it, to be honest, but generally the entire infrastructure, from what I understand, is going to be built on the EOS blockchain. So that's just more utility for EOS, so it should work out okay over time. To be honest, I don't really see why it won't. But for the moment, it's massively speculative, and these pumps, as fast as they can pump, they can easily just fall back into themselves. They're vulnerable to the market, just like everything else is. So Bitcoin is going to dictate the direction, whether it's up or down. But if Bitcoin were to go sideways and up or up, I think EOS will follow as well, off the back of not just this news, but what this news represents for EOS as a token. and the blockchain, I suppose, as a whole. So yeah, I'm not massively bullish, but I'm not particularly bearish. The 4-hourly chart looks good. The daily's got areas of potential resistance. And look, I hold EOS definitely. I've been trading EOS since we got into the accumulation phase down around here, wasn't it? Really, it was down around these zones here was the average area to buy in, and we did some decent trades. Took my first area of profit around about $13, but still holding on to quite a significant amount of it. Because over time, I do expect it to work out, but I have to say it's been pretty goddamn awful. I'm so glad that I did sell. It's only about 25%. If you watch my profit taking strategy, I always do 25% sell. So I got my investment out and obviously doubled it. The rest is profit, but it doesn't feel like profit anymore. Not after such a dramatic. I mean, this is bad. This is really bad. I mean, this is this is horrendous. 80% pullback on something like EOS, which is supposed to be top cap, you know what I mean? So it's got to be the worst performing top cap coin out there, as far as, well, in most ways, to be honest, in most ways. But there's opportunity in this, I'm expecting, but not based upon the chart. The 4-hourly or against Bitcoin looks better than Tether, and that's how we're going to choose to view this. I think looking at this versus Bitcoin is going to be the smart way to try and recognize any potential uptrends and signs of strength. And at the moment, it does show that it's stronger than Bitcoin and potentially wants to outperform Bitcoin at least over this next week. But it is going to be extremely vulnerable. It always is. EOS is so vulnerable to market moves that you could have a really nice setup and it will dump so hard and so fast you won't believe your eyes. So it's definitely dodgy and high risk, definitely. But look, it's just one of those things. You've got to be in it to win it, and I'm certainly in it. But I'm not like a massive EOS maxi or anything like that. But it's one of those things that almost you have to think that, look, this is a big development going on with EOS right now, and I'm not a massive fundamentals person, but it is actually a big deal. It is a big deal, and it could be a massive game changer. And so sometimes I choose to buy things based on fundamentals and fundamentals alone. And this is the first time I've really felt that there is fundamental value to holding the EOS token now, because it's going to have a real solid and enormous use case that's probably going to draw a lot of customers from these other platforms to this new one, especially with all the FUD that's going on with Binance. It wouldn't surprise me if some of that is being orchestrated by these powerful people that are going to try and draw some of that customer base to the Bullish exchange. That's just me spouting off my own conspiracies, but yeah, it makes sense that sort of thing would happen. Either way, not a massive fan of the way that the chart looks in general, but that also corresponds to the way that the market looks as a whole. So I can't, I'm no financial advisor. Look, I'm holding plenty of it. I hope the best for it. My time frames for this to recover is not going to be based upon the launch of Bullish. It will be based upon the chart turning around. We do have very, very small telltale signs, only on the 4-hourly, that this chart may begin to turn around if we were to continue to hold above the 200 exponential on the 4-hourly to begin with, at least with the Bitcoin pairing. And that could show signs of strength that continue and go into a more significant and sustained uptrend. So it'll be very interesting to see how this thing plays out. But honestly, I have to say, you've got to take the EOS with a pinch of salt. As soon as things start to look up for it, the rug can get pulled from beneath your feet. So it is a pretty deadly token to be playing around with. But I'm in it. So and this is me documenting my own trades, if anything else. So anyway, I'll leave it with you there. No need to talk about the England result yesterday, but very briefly, it was just unlucky. It was a good match. It was a good game, and it's been a good tournament all round. And we'll just focus on the World Cup now. So fair play to everybody who supported anyone. To be honest with you, I think the cup was up for grabs with at least England, Spain, and Italy. To be honest with you, I think they all deserved. They all played just as good as each other. So, but anyway, I will leave it with you there, and I hope you all have a nice day. Take it easy.